I appreciated the relationship he had with, I forget his name, but he was...
his homeboy?
Yeah.
What's his name? Berserker or something?
No, absolutely not.
That's not his name?
Hell no.
I thought his name was...
That villainous ass name. Berserker.
I just saw this shit. I thought
it ain't Berserker, I promise you that. It's like Battlestar.
Battlestar. That's his name.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Cinecism. I'm Eric.
It's your boy Dante, man, and today we're going to be doing a review on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Falcon and the Winter Soldier takes place pretty much after the events of Endgame. At the end, where Cap came back old after he had went through all of those stages to return the Infinity Stones, where he presents Sam with the shield, tells him that he kind of wants him to take on the mantle of Captain America. So Sam is denied that. He doesn't want the mantle of Captain America. He feels like it's a lot of pressure. Bucky, who makes an appearance in the show, he does not like the fact that Sam has rejected the shield. You feel like he rejected Cap and everything that he stood for. The government assigns a new Captain America, ex-military member named John Walker. In the midst of this, there's a group called the Flag Smashers, international quote-unquote terrorist group. People that were displaced after the events of the snap or the blip, they were a part of a world that was unified because of that. Now, with everybody returning, they've kind of instilled a lot of those laws and those barriers once again. They're also a band of super soldiers as well, so that kind of makes things interesting. They've gotten a hand on the Winter Soldier serum.
People be getting that serum,
dog. That serum's so accessible.
Let's talk about Sam first. They really fleshed Sam out in this series, man. We're living in a world, you know, post blip and post everybody's return and post Captain America's retirement. You know, a lot of events have transpired. Sam is dealing with the reality that they're living in now, the world around him, how it's changed. He's living without the leadership of Captain America. He doesn't want to take on that mantle because of all of the pressure and expectations he will be expected to live up to.
I thought this show did a great job of explaining why he didn't want to become Captain America. It was very multi-layered. It was a lot of different reasons. You know, they kind of make it in the beginning of the show seem pretty basic, but as the show goes on, continues, you learn there's a lot of reasons why he didn't want to do that, and they all seem very valid.
He never really explicitly stated this, but I would imagine he's just a regular dude too on top of all that, so he doesn't have some of the ability, even though he's highly trained and highly skilled. He doesn't have that serum though, too. That might have something to do with it. He never said that, but that's how I would feel if I was in that position. I was like, man, how the fuck I'm gonna be kept the way this man be moving?
Right.
Like, what?
I wasn't expecting this, but the show brought up a very valid point about him being a black man and scared to take on the mantle of Captain America. And it focuses a lot on that aspect, as it should, because that is a very important thing to consider, which you never thought about in Infinity War and Endgame, because I feel like Marvel lives in the current world, but at the same time, they don't focus on too many political issues. But for what it's worth, Marvel Comics has always kind of focused on a lot of social issues. So it makes sense. This is not out of the realm for them. I just felt like in the movies, we have yet to kind of go into that place. I love the aspect with his family too, man. You got to meet his sister, and like you said, he's just so much more fleshed out as a character in the show. They really make you care about these people on a different level.
It makes you realize, like, yeah, they superheroes and they're like known internationally, but they not wealthy people by any means. They still like regular people. When they not performing the task of saving the world, they still just regular people, man, trying to get by just like everybody else.
And that whole aspect of him trying to fix up his family's boat and them going to the bank to get a loan.
Right.
I was like, man, he need to go to the bank to get a loan. And it was crazy because dude was starstruck that it was Falcon, but was still kind of treating him like he was just some regular dude off the street. Then he was asking him inappropriate questions. He was like, yeah, so how do you guys get paid anyway? I was just like, nigga, that ain't none of your business, bro. I'm here for my family.
Man, Bucky got a lot going on throughout this show too, man. Captain America aging, going away and retiring, that was a loss of everybody, but for him, I feel like that was the last remnant of his past that he had. He was his closest friend too, so he probably feels like more at a loss now than ever before. Of course, Bucky is already coping with just trying to rebuild his mind after being brainwashed for like, you know, multiple decades. He was was an assassin. He was basically used by Hydra for a majority of his life. So now he's trying to get his life back. He's going to therapy. He's kind of trying to pay a debt in a sense and return to his former life, if that's even possible at this point.
Yeah, he definitely searching for some form of atonement. It feel like he putting himself through some type of self-torture because he hanging out with a guy who he knows he killed his son. That's and he crazy. Constantly hearing him talk about it. And it's not on no like evil tip. I think him just being around him, he felt like in some way that was repaying him. He was taking care of the guy essentially. So he was kind of playing the role of son. It just was sad to see, man, that his life was completely destroyed. And you don't think about this stuff. Of course, these characters that just be in these movies, we peg them as villain, we peg them as this. Mm-hmm. But to see that he was somebody who was actually mind controlled and he got to pick his life up. His therapist was like, look, just get 6 phone numbers in your phone or something. It's very cool to see him and Sam's dynamic because they explained that too in this show that they weren't really ever friends.
Yeah.
They just
had a mutual.
They had a mutual
and
friend.
a mutual respect for them.
Correct. They're not really partners in this show by choice. It's more circumstantial and by necessity they need to team up. But they didn't really want to be each other's team in this show, at least in the beginning. No, we gotta talk about the guy John Walker. We gotta talk about him.
Talk about John Walker next?
Yeah, we got to.
All right, let's talk about it. So John Walker is the person that they elected to replace Captain America. He's given the shield after Sam doesn't take it. He seems honored to take on the mantle. I think at times he kind of let it go to his head in certain instances, but I wanted to hate this dude, but I didn't find myself hating him. Even though he was kind of a asshole at times, I felt like in the beginning at least, he still cared enough about people and the general public to try to do good.
I think my issue with him was his approach to being Captain America. I ain't really have no issues with him outside of that, but just the way that he was kind of approaching it. I ain't like how he was talking to Bucky and Sam in the beginning of the show. It was this element of arrogance there that I didn't appreciate. It's like, bro, first of all, they knew the real Captain America and they've been in the shits for years, right. Actually going to war. You know what I'm saying? So just put some respect on their name. That's all I'm asking. He had a lot to live up to, man. You got to understand, he's taking on the mantle of America's hero. I think he felt like he had a chip on his shoulder and he had something to prove. He eventually takes the super serum, which I thought was driving him insane. He definitely was having some mood swings as a side effect of taking that serum, though.
I felt like sometimes that was debatable because I felt like when he first was trying to find his homeboy, he was already pissed off because he thought that he was hurt or endangered. Mm-hmm. So I understood the way he reacted then. Then, of course, I understood the way he was reacting after they killed him.
Oh, I was not mad at that at all.
Yeah, he went off the deep end.
Like, yeah, I mean, I get it. He's Captain America. He's not supposed to do that. Oh. But they killed his friends.
Listen, man, when that shit happened, I was like, oh.
That was unexpected. I'm not gonna lie. When his friend died, I was like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming.
Me neither, man.
It was brutal too, by the way. So I think that was also part of it. It was a brutal public execution.
In the Captain America suit. That was a crazy visual.
One thing I did hate that suit. I hated his suit. I hated it.
Was it the...
Yes. He looked like Confederate man. Like, I was like, what the fuck is this shit here?
In comparison to Captain America's Avengers suit, his first Avengers movie suit, which one did you dislike more?
God, I hate that Avengers suit. They really did a bad job at trying to replicate the comic. I'll take this one over there. I'll be honest. This made a little bit more tactical sense, and they eventually did that with Captain America's suit later in the movies.
Carly she's a leader of this flag smashers movement. They're kind of trying to take back what they see as theirs, their rightful place in the world after everybody starts to return and they start to get treated as second-rate citizens again. They trying to make a statement basically like, hey, this ain't right. We're going to take things back into our own hands. She really believes in her cause, man. Like, she got like a whole organization of people that are following her. I think her ultimate goal is to kind of take out or assassinate these people in power so they can distribute the benefits equally.
Carly is an anti-hero, man. She's not really a villain, and the show don't really have any specified villains in a sense. You really relate to her cause, you know. It's a noble cause. She gets a lot of support from the community, a lot of support from a lot of people who feel the way that she did. She's very young. She's very idealistic. She's willing to go there for the cause.
That's what I would say. But she's a by any means necessary.
Yeah, her people sometimes was looking at her like, oh, we really doing, because she was like, yeah, we gotta kill the hostages. I'm sorry.
It's like people like her though was like, yeah, you don't want to intentionally hurt innocent people, but when it happens, it's like such little remorse. Do you have any regard for human life then?
I liked her as a character. You get a really good sense of her heart. She's not after anything material. It's really just for the cause and for the people, and she's willing to do whatever it takes.
I was going to talk about this, man, because it's something that I've noticed all the time when a villain becomes like a good guy. They do this, and it's like a writing thing, I guess. They always nerf the hell out of these villains that become heroes. It's like they depower them and some shit. Like when Bucky was introduced in Winter Soldier, bro.
Yeah.
I understand that he's not trying to kill people in this. You still should be able to subdue people fairly. The way he was giving Captain America the business in Winter Soldier, bro, none of these people should have stood a chance against this man, bro.
Yeah.
I always notice that, and I just don't appreciate it. You can elevate the villain and just make the hero have to be elevated too. I like for people to have consistent skills, man. That's all I'm saying.
I was also trying to figure out, so is Captain America dead? Is Steve Rogers dead?
They ain't say, bro.
The way
they not
spoke about him was as if he was dead.
He probably
but
did.
But the way that he ended in Endgame, he was clearly just elderly and obviously wasn't able to fight no more.
He ain't look far from dead.
That's what I was saying too. I would believe that he is, but I would have liked some confirmation on that.
You know, I also appreciated some of the cameos in here too. Of course, Agent Carter.
What's up with her? She done became...
I don't know what she on.
Yeah, who is that person, the power broker that they refer to? You know that character?
I don't know what that's about. I'm sure we're going to figure it out at some point. I don't know what...
Well, it ain't
I don't know what side she... No.
Yeah.
Not with them faces and that music.
Right.
I don't know what her goals are, but you know.
I didn't understand how they could welcome back Captain America and revere him, I guess, after everything that happened with the Accords and Civil War. But she was still not allowed to come back to America. I'm like, what the fuck did she do?
That's a great point.
It didn't make any sense. I'm like, why is she still banned to come back? We accepted Sam walking around this bitch. She can't go. What did she? She didn't do anything. It's such a far cry from who her character was. At least the person that we got to know.
Did we ever really know her?
Yeah.
I mean, she was spying on Steve.
Yeah, she was a spy. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, espionage is kind of her thing.
Doing. Yeah, Zemo in there. He got a good amount of screen time.
God, he ain't never to be trusted.
At all. I mean, look at him.
Just
see that coat?
Yeah, right. Dog, he was dripping though.
I like how they got it, how he got to wear his signature mask though.
Yes.
I thought that was cool to see.
The Baron.
Who else? Oh, I like they had the there's a Dora Milaje. I always like when they appear, man. Their presence just be so powerful.
Now they weren't depowered at all. They were as cold as you remember they were.
Yeah. Oh man, when they shit on John Walker, he said they weren't even super. How she picked the shield up too after she kicked his ass.
Embarrassing.
I was like, damn.
Yeah, picked this shit up like, here, bro. You know, hang on to that. I was slightly upset in the beginning because I was like, damn, if you're gonna put them in here, then bring Okoye. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It would have meant more if it was people we knew.
Nah, this is a series of side characters.
Yeah, right. This is clearly, I mean, even with Bucky and Sam, this is the side pieces. I didn't know who she was supposed to be. I had to do some research. I love Julia Louis-Dreyfus from Seinfeld. The fact that she made an appearance in the show, I didn't know who her character was supposed to be. Yeah. Apparently she's supposed to be, Lady Hydra or something like that? The fact that she's in the MCU is fantastic. I'm glad that she's here. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with her in the future. You know what was one of my favorite scenes in this show, though? When Sam and Bucky had to do that therapy session. That was funny. Some of the comedy in the beginning of the show. I was
going to talk about it. Oh, for real? You thought so?
In the beginning. But just because I felt like they weren't established enough as friends.
Yeah.
But then as the show went on, it started to become a lot more organic as their relationship started to feel more organic, which I appreciated.
To me, at least, it felt in the same vein as like how they interacted in Civil War movie. Mm-hmm. It was like a playful hate relationship. Mm-hmm. I mean, I felt like it was a continuation of that here. It was just a little bit more elaborated on. But I understand where you're coming from because they didn't have that bond yet. I do want to say, man, I really appreciated in the last episode when Sam finally made his appearance as Captain America. I was really surprised that they decided to stick with the design of the comic book costume. And it actually looked decent. It's not the best looking Captain America costume because just the whole premise of it as a whole, him with the wing, it's a lot going on. He got the shield, the wings, and the Captain America suit. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. But it didn't look bad, man. It didn't look bad. And his action scenes in it were really dope. Yeah. I thought it would handle very well.
I was curious as to what route they were going to take. If they were going to give him the wings too, because that adds a different dynamic for him in terms of his fighting ability. I was actually happy to see that they incorporated the wings too, because it was like a merger of the two people he was. And he became his version of Captain America, which is what this was kind of all about anyway. Not necessarily being Steve, but being him as Captain America. And I thought him still having them Falcon wings was a symbolic way of doing that. Listen, man, if they do this right, him in fights, this shit gonna be so much more cold.
It is, man.
Because now he got, when he propelled with that shield into Homeboy, and then he had the wings to block, and he had the shield on top. Bro, he can do so much more. This adds a lot more layers to him as a fighter.
And it definitely makes the playing field. Super serum. It levels the playing field for him, being that he doesn't have superhuman serum. So it just adds a bit of an advantage for him.
And this is one of the last things that I'll say is that in terms of the overall story, I could care less. I was not invested in that Flag Smasher storyline. I found myself way more invested in the individualized storylines. Like I cared about Sam's plight, him with his family, him becoming Captain America. I cared about Bucky, him and Sam's tension, him dealing with his trauma. And even Carly, I cared about her individually, but just that overall, I wasn't following that as well as I felt like I should have, with it being the main underlying plot. Once it came to the final episode, I was like, oh yeah, this, you know, I wasn't anticipating it with the same way I was anticipating the end of WandaVision, where it felt like the whole culmination of that show had came to a head. I didn't feel that way here. To me, the final moment of this show was Sam putting on the Captain America suit and him giving that speech at the end. I was fine with that. The whole shit with the Flag Smashers was kind of just a throwaway plot to me. These people, they were kind of no-name villains. I guess that maybe was intentional because they weren't villains really. What they represented was people as a whole. So it would make sense that maybe they didn't focus on one particular person. It felt more like a movement. For a show, you need villains. You know, on a metaphorical level, I understand, but you need actual villains in a show like this. And I felt like that would have made so much more of a difference if we got to know Carly like how we got to know Sam. Maybe some of her family, maybe see that some of them had gotten killed or something, like some type of backstory to get me invested more into her.
I definitely enjoyed this show. I always like when they do the more grounded superheroes stories, or they just feel a little bit more tangible and relatable. The action was stellar in this, of course, as you come to expect from Marvel movies. CGI looked pretty great. I really liked how they built upon him and Bucky's relationship, because that's going to be really important moving forward. And it makes me want to see what happens to them, what becomes of them in the future films. So overall, I'm going to give the Falcon and the Winter Soldier an 8 out of 10.
I came away from this show taking away a lot more from it than I thought that I ever would. It's a very grounded superhero show. Coming off the heels of WandaVision, which was very fantasy, very outer-worldly. This show is very much rooted in reality, very much rooted in the now. And it's a people show. Not a lot of super-powered type of shit going on, even though that's involved in here. I feel like the main plot of this show is a lot more human than that. Him and Bucky kind of established themselves as individuals here, as to before being just kind of Captain America's boys. For me, I'm going to give this show a 7.5.
Thank y'all for tuning in to our review of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Hope y'all enjoyed it. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And if you have any suggested video reviews for movies, shows, or trailers, don't forget to drop us a comment below.
Absolutely. And if you guys have seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier, please let us know what you thought of the show. How do you feel like this stacked up, I guess, in comparison to WandaVision? But how do you feel like it stacked up overall, just in terms of its own standalone thing?
Yeah.
How'd you like Bucky? How'd you like Sam? The overall plot, everything. We'd like to know all of that as well. We appreciate y'all, man.
Thank y'all.
Peace.